There are questions that shape civilizations, questions that echo through the halls of philosophy, that ripple through the fabric of culture, that demand rigorous inquiry. What is justice? What is beauty? What is the meaning of life? And then, standing proudly among them, like a raccoon wearing corpse paint, is the question that concerns us today. Does Contrapoints listen to Mayhem? At first glance, this question seems absurd, a collision of two worlds that should never intersect. On one side, we have Contrapoints, Natalie Wynn, the velvet-draped philosopher queen of YouTube, known for her theatrical monologues, lush lighting, and existential musings delivered with the precision of a drag queen who has read too much Foucault. On the other side, we have Mayhem, the Norwegian black metal band whose history reads like a police report written by a medieval demon. But the absurdity is exactly what makes the question interesting, because beneath the surface, beneath the corpse paint and the wine glass, beneath the goat screams and the velvet curtains lies a deeper inquiry. What does it mean for two radically different aesthetic worlds to collide? And more importantly, what does that collision reveal about art, identity, and the human craving for chaos? To answer this, we must begin where all great investigations begin, with a dramatic overstatement of importance. Mayhem is not a band so much as a cultural event, a sonic meteor that crashed into Norway in the 1980s and left a crater filled with blast beats, church-burning lore, and enough chaotic energy to power a small village. Their early recordings sound like someone dropped a microphone into a snowstorm and told a demon to scream its grocery list. Their live shows were theatrical in a way a haunted house is theatrical. Messy, violent, and spiritually questionable. To understand Mayhem is to understand a particular kind of aesthetic extremity. It is music that rejects beauty, rejects polish, and rejects the idea that art must be pleasant. This is important as Contrapoints, for all our decadence, is also deeply invested in extremity. Not the extremity of noise, but the extremity of thought, of emotion, of identity. Her videos are maximalist, theatrical, and often confrontational. She does not shy away from discomfort, she marinates in it. She does not avoid chaos, she choreographs it. So already, we see the first crack in the wall. Contrapoints and Mayhem share a commitment to the dramatic. They simply express it through different mediums, one through corpse paint and tremolo picking, the other through wigs and philosophical monologues. Contrapoints videos are lush, decadent, and meticulously crafted. Every frame looks like it was painted by a queer Caravaggio who discovered LED lighting. The characters, the philosopher, the skeptic, the nihilist, the wine-soaked aristocrat, are theatrical constructions designed to explore the contradictions of modern life. She is velvet. She is candlelight. She is existential dread wearing eyeliner. But beneath the glamour lies a fascination with the grotesque, the absurd, the unhinged. She talks about shame, identity, self-destruction, and the ways people spiral into ideological madness. She is not afraid of darkness, she simply addresses it well. This is where the question becomes interesting, because Mayhem is also darkness, but without the velvet, without wine, without the lighting budget. Mayhem is darkness in its raw, unfiltered form, the sound of a goat falling down a flight of stairs while a blizzard screams outside. So the question becomes, would Contrapoints appreciate the rawness of Mayhem, or is it too unvarnished for her aesthetic sensibilities? Imagine a Venn diagram. On one side, Contrapoints, sipping wine, discussing Judith Butler, surrounded by candles and velvet. On the other side, Mayhem, performing in a basement that smells like burnt hair, wearing corpse paint that looks like it was applied by a raccoon with anger issues. At first glance, the circles do not touch, but look closer. Both are theatrical, both are dramatic, both are deeply committed to the bit. Contrapoints performs philosophy. Mayhem performs chaos. Contrapoints uses lighting and costume to create emotional landscapes. Mayhem uses distortion and shrieking to create spiritual landscapes. Contrapoints explores identity through characters. Mayhem explores identity through obliteration of the self. These are not opposites. These are cousins who took different paths in life. Now we enter the realm of pure speculation, the heart of this investigation. Imagine Contrapoints listening to Mayhem. She sits in her studio, surrounded by candles. She presses play on De Mysteris Dom Sathanas. The opening riff hits, raw, jagged, frostbitten. She pauses. She raises an eyebrow. She sips her wine. This, she says, is interesting. She listens further. She analyzes the corpse paint as a form of drag for men who live in basements. She interprets the shrieking vocals as a commentary on the fragility of the human ego. She describes blast beats as the sound of a haunted humidifier having an existential crisis. She does not enjoy it, but she appreciates it. She respects the commitment to the aesthetic. Because Contrapoints understands something fundamental. Art does not need to be beautiful to be meaningful. Sometimes art is a scream. Sometimes art is a mess. Sometimes art is a Norwegian man screaming into a microphone like a goat possessed by the spirit of winter. Contrapoints videos often explore shame, identity, beauty, and the human condition. Mayhem explores, well, the sound of a goat falling down a staircase, but both in their own ways are meditations on chaos. Contrapoints intellectualizes chaos. Mayhem embodies it. Contrapoints dissects the human psyche. Mayhem sets it on fire and screams at the ashes. And so the question, does Contrapoints listen to Mayhem, becomes less about literal listening habits and more about the philosophical compatibility of two artistic worlds. So, does Contrapoints listen to Mayhem? We don't know. We may never know. Only Natalie Wynn and possibly her Spotify Wrapped can answer this. But spiritually, emotionally, aesthetically, the deepest, most chaotic corners of the universe, yes. Because Contrapoints and Mayhem are two sides of the same coin. One polished, one jagged. One velvet, one frostbite. One sipping wine, one screaming into the void. Both are committed to the bit. Both are theatrical. Both are chaos in different costumes. And that, ultimately, is why this question matters.